Okay, there we are.
All right, I'll check in 20 minutes.
Thanks, man. I was so delighted with the Square when I saw it in Cannes because I'm delighted with any comedy that diverts from the usual strategy of American comedies, which is to always go very low, very common denominator.
Yeah.
And I was delighted that not one laugh in your, well, maybe the chimp in her apartment, but everything else was not low, and I thought that was delightful, just as a concept. And I felt that basically that the sum of it was more in terms of impressions, like a impressionistic painter or something.
Mm-hmm.
One impression, and you kind of stitched it all together.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just wondering, now you're going to tell me now that no, it's actually a story that I had worked out, but is that impressionistic thing that I mean, it's impressions of obviously Swedish society and political correctness and the insular lives of people who live in this realm.
Yeah. No, you know that what I have done when I was writing the script was that I started with the thematic first, and like how do we look on responsibility on an individual level and on a society level? How do we look on the social contract? Do we put trust in people, etc., etc. These things. And then I was starting to collect scenes that I thought was connected to this thematic. And then, the idea about the square, the symbolic place, the square, was something that me and a friend of mine created in order to try to change the social contract in the public spaces in Sweden. We felt that people looked at themselves that they are disconnected from the responsibility of being a fellow human being. And we wanted to increase trust in society, increase the possibility for us to take responsibility. And then we created this symbolic place. And we were invited to an art museum to make an exhibition. And that's when this film can take place on an art museum. And the main character can be the chief curator on this museum. And he can be put up to moral challenges where at the same time that he believes in this humanistic idea, I wanted to challenge him on a personal level. And then I was looking for situations where I felt challenged myself. And then I built the film is built around that robbery and going out and trying to find a boy and I can't find him. And then we have what's going on in the museum at the same time. So it's actually a linear story, but I think I stop up in the moments quite long, so it feels episodical then, of course.
My two impressions, very well, just go piece by piece, but my two impressions about the note handed off to all those apartments is that if I were to receive a note saying, I know that you stole my phone and wallet, and if you want to avoid prosecution, give it back. I'd say, okay, well, I never stole anybody's wallet, so no problem. Throw it in the garbage, end of story. And if the parents of that young boy became very upset at the idea of their son maybe being, I wouldn't have no problem calling them right away and saying, listen, it was just a general ploy to get them, that's all it was. It was not meant at your son or you guys, so please accept my apology. It wasn't meant personally. Why didn't he just do that?
Well, I had to challenge myself also when it comes to the script, and I had to put in a lot of different kind of pressure on him, as both on a professional level when he's dealing with his work, but also from I'm the character and his kids, and he's dealing with. There's so many strings attached to him, but I think that for me the reason that he can go out in the end and try to ask for apology or try to do good is because he loses his position. So his position in itself also, how to say, makes him unable to take responsibility. So when he loses that, he's also free in some way. So for me, it is that all these strings that are attached to being this semi-public figure, and
I was also challenging myself. I said the people who were directly subordinate to how do you pronounce his name? But is it Claes?
Claes Bang.
Bang.
Yeah.
Not bang, but bang.
Bang. Claes. In Swedish you say Claes Bang, but yeah.
The people directly subordinate to him at the museum surely must have glimpsed the possibility of social pushback.
Yeah.
And yet, because they didn't have it in it wasn't their immediate, it was his responsibility, they let it go through.
Yeah, sure.
That's malicious.
Yeah.
You know, it struck me that way.
Yeah.
Particularly the blonde woman who was his immediate
Sure.
Subordinate.
Yeah.
I mean, there was all these layers in this thing. It was fascinating that you just, put it out there.
I must say it was, if I compare it to Force Majeure, Force Majeure was so much easier to write, because then you have the avalanche situation and everything starts from that point, basically. But when it came to this topic, that is such a wide topic, it was like, how do you write something about when you are trying to discuss these things? So it took a long time for me. And for me, it solved when the PR agency came into the picture, that they are going to promote this humanistic art piece. And what they do is they do a super cynical video, and they succeed. So media goes straight into the trap, and they start writing about in order to, and that layer for me was like, okay, now I'm highlighting the kind of media landscape that we are dealing with today, So that's actually when I felt, okay, now the film has something.
I have a relatively new Russian wife. We got married last June.
Okay.
She immediately was alerted to the notion about Terry Notorious character having a Russian name. Oleg something.
Yeah, he is actually inspired of a Russian performance artist that is called Oleg Kulik. And Oleg Kulik, he had a performance in a museum in Sweden that is kind of famous because he was playing a dog. And it had a sign where it says, "Beware of the dog." And people that didn't respect this, he actually attacked them. And it went so far that he bit the chief curator's daughter in the leg. So they had to call the police. So they had to call the police, actually.
When did this performance art happen?
It happened maybe, I think it was in the beginning of the 21st century, like in the first decade of the...
In Sweden somewhere?
Yeah, in a museum called Färgfabriken. I can write it down for you if you want to, but... and he is a quite extraordinary person, and he's willing to go far when it comes to his art,
I felt that the ending of the Terry Notary stand-up scene, where everybody jumps on, that was one of the funniest things.
Yeah.
Because the decorum that all patrons of the arts maintain, even when, for instance, the chef yells at them, is never violent. They always maintain this respectful, submissive.
Yeah,
we get it. We
get
it.
I think that the idea with that scene was quite. I enjoyed doing that scene a lot, but the idea with that scene was much. First of all, I wanted a tuxedo-dressed audience in Cannes, sitting in Lumiere, looking at another tuxedo-dressed audience, trying to deal with this performance artist that is breaking the social contract, really completely. But then I also wanted the tuxedo-dressed audience in watching the performance in the film. They are starting like civilized human beings, sitting there and having this etiquette, which fork you should use and everything like that. And then they should end up like uncivilized animals, like beating the shit out of the performance artist. Yeah. So.
By the way, I love that photo that I saw of you when you won the Palme d'Or.
Yeah.
You had gotten down and you were... on your knees or one knee or something, holding it up.
Yeah, we were.
That's a great photo that I'd like to find somewhere.
Did you see it when I was on the stage, or did you see it? Because I made a whole audience scream.
Oh, okay.
So I had an idea,
So I should find the video when you won.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Because I wanted like, I thought it would be beautiful. I said, okay, let's do the primal screen of happiness now together. And I wanted the photographers to aim the camera back to the audience because I love that they were like, this